Again, my name is Jeanette, and thank you for joining me. I am going to be going over how to design your pages. This is my favorite part of yearbook production because really this is what we sign up for. This is the fun part. It takes a lot to do yearbooks. It's not just designing a book. You have to think about sales, marketing, distributing. So there's all kinds of components, and this is by far my favorite and the funnest. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys. We have a lot to go over, so bear with me as I share. And you should see my screen now. Okay, here we go. And I am taking off the video just so it doesn't become a distraction. Okay, all right, so here we are. I'm sure you guys are familiar with this screen. This is your welcome screen. And then to get started into your pages, we can go one of two ways. We can go to Design Book and jump right into our pages, or we can go to View Ladder and go to our pages from there. Once we're in the ladder is always going to give you a thumbnail view of your pages as you're designing them. And bear with me, and I am working remotely today, so my internet might not be the fastest. All right, here we go. Okay, and then when we are ready to go into our pages, we just double click on a page that we want to go into. Here we go. Let's go here. We'll just clear that out in order to have a blank slate to play with. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my grid. If you click the W on your keyboard, it will get rid of that grid there. If you were to click it again, it will come up once more like so. So you can take it in and out. Okay, so here's our blank page. This is right here, is our safety margin. This green box, you want to keep anything you want to keep safe inside here. And if you want to bleed something outside or to the edge of the page, you can bleed it all the way to, extend it all the way to the edge of the gray, and that's fine. Just make sure you keep anything important like text boxes or a face in a photo. You want to keep it inside the safety margin. Now, another thing that you will find here on our page is workspace. So we see here some white space here on the right and the left, and this is what we call the workspace. And you can put any kind of design element here that you want to use later on. So for example, this right here, we grabbed from our accents just to use later. We can click and drag it into the book now. And then if you decide not to, you can leave it out there. I'll talk a little more about that as we go. I just wanted to bring it up since it is sitting right there. I wanted to tell you what that was about. Okay, so to get started, you can definitely start with adding text boxes and photo boxes and start from scratch. But I always recommend to start with a template because of two reasons. So we're going to go here to our collections. There are two ways to get to our templates, and this is one of them. And I'll show you the other one in a bit. We're going to go to collections. Here you will see all of our art listed by theme, and you can pick and choose which theme you want to work with. You can stick with one, you can mix and match them. And I'm going to show you a couple of tips here. If we go here to templates, so I always say start with a template because two reasons. Our templates customizable, and at least you have a jumping off point. So we just click and drag the template over. And the other reason is the template will take over whatever you already have on a page. So that's what this little warning is letting us know. Do you want to clear all the items? We're going to go ahead and click on yes. Now, if we find this too busy, we want to maybe get rid of some of these photo boxes and put text there instead, or rearrange them, maybe align them all not to be sideways like this. we can modify it. We can completely modify this. But as far as designing, you have a jumping off point. This right here is what we call a snippet, and snippet are mini little templates. And they too can be customizable. You just need to ungroup them in order to do that. So let me go ahead and select this one instead. You can ungroup them by clicking here, the little group and ungroup button. Now, when we deselect this and select it again, see now how we are selecting each one individually. So if we wanted to get rid of some of these photo boxes, we can do that. Let's say we've decided to use these two, maybe later on. Let's go ahead and move them over to our workspace and see where that goes. And instead, maybe we want to put a text box here to put a title. We're going to go here to the T for text on the left-hand side. And as soon as I click the headline or a subheader or body, it's going to create a text box. And it's going to place it right there. We can go ahead and move it and adjust this to our needs. We can double click it and start typing. And we can come over here to the little wizard one on the right-hand side and go to the type color and change that color. We can go ahead and select a different color here in our color wheel. We can modify the color by playing around with our values and a saturation. We can create our own shade and save it for later use. So if we click over here where it says Project Save Colors, click the little plus sign, then that will save that blue to use throughout the book on anything that it's colorable, whether it's font, or if you want to color a background or an accent, anything like that. You can use that color for it. If you wanted to change the font type, you can go to the T for the text settings and you will see them listed here under font. And then you can choose a different font here, kind of play around and see the one that you like. Going back here to the type settings, we can change the sizing of it. You can click the plus and minus and nudge it little bits at a time, or you can type a number there like so. I want to point out here now that we made this so big, now we will be getting a warning. If we click this again, you will see that little warning right there. You will also see that warning in the ladder. And if we click on it, it will let you know that the box, not all the text in the box is visible. So at this point, you can either resize your text box, and then that warning will disappear once it fits. Or you can always come here to the text settings again and resize your text if you wanted to. You can change the positioning of it. You can justify it to the middle or the center or the right or left. Kind of play around with those options here. I always say, feel free to experiment with all of the options in the type settings, in the wizard wand effects, because that is the best way you're going to get to know the software. We could sit here for hours on end, and I can be going over every single little thing and still miss something. The I for properties is going to give you the size of that text box. It's going to give you the positioning of it. And then you can nudge it little bits at a time like this, flip and rotate it. Or you can always click and drag the corners if you rather. Okay. So we have those options. The arrangement, this refers to where that specific design element lays on the page. So right now it's in the front of this photo box, right? If we click here, the little send to back, then it sends it behind it. So that's what the arrangement refers to. This will bring it forward. This will send it back. So you can play around with those options as well. All right, going back to our collections, I'm going to stick with abstract, and I do want to show you, before I move on from templates, I want to show you a little tip. On most of our templates, you will see the first template that you see, you will, let's go ahead and click and drag this over. You will see the colors that are going to be used in this specific template, and you will see the font styles that are mix and match in this template. And the reason I like to bring this up is because for two reasons. One is you can save these colors to use throughout, and it'll give you the instructions right there. You select it. We go here to the little wizard wand and go to the fill effects. And now we can go ahead. Oh, that's very close to the color I already saved. Let's go ahead and save this one instead. And then we click the little plus sign. And now we have that coral color to use throughout. And the reason I'm pointing this out is not only because obviously you can use these colors in these fonts throughout your design, you don't necessarily need to stick with abstract theme in order to make the book cohesive. A lot of the reasons that we created the themes was to have the book have a nice flow, consistent flow to it. However, if you mix and match our themes, but stick to one specific color scheme, it will be cohesive as well. It will have that nice continuity to it, if you will. Okay, so keep that in mind. You can mix and match your themes with, and then just be sure to use those different colors. All right, let's go to a background, and we can go ahead and click and drag backgrounds like so. If we change our minds, we can click and drag another one. Anything that you find here with a color wheel, like this one, will come on black or gray, but then when you come over here to the wizard wand, you can change that color to a different color here using the color wheel and playing around with the values. Again, you can say that color if you wish. Okay, so that is anything with a little color wheel. All of our design elements are also going to have a heart next to it. And if you click on that little heart, it will save it to your favorites folder. In your favorites, you're going to find here in our art palette, and under favorites right there. And this is the other place where you're going to find all of our design elements. Here under collections, you're going to find all of our design elements by theme. Under the art palette, you're going to find it by category. So we have the templates, background, snippets. We have shapes over here, and shapes works a couple of different ways. We can use a shape to click and drag a shape over to use as a design element. Maybe now you can put a text box in front of this, like so. So you can use it as a design element. You can also use a shape to change the shape of a photo box. So if we have this photo box here and we want to make it round instead of a square, we can click and drag that shape and drop it there. Let's say we want to make these little ones hexagons. We can just click and drag the shape over like so. So you can change that. You're not necessarily have to stick with a certain shape that you start with. You can change, if you change your mind, you can change that as you go along. And then of course, there's a line here that you can put in as well. Okay. Anything that is colorable is going to be listed here. I talked about our favorites, and then we have our exclusive art folder. These are things that we have added through the years, and you are more than welcome to use any one of them. Just keep in mind that we don't have it listed in our art guide, so you will have to go through all of the different categories or the different folders to find what you're looking for. Okay, but like I said, you're welcome to use it. This is a cute one here. You can click and drag it over and then maybe put a photo box in front of this. So it's just got some cute little options there. All right, I'm going back to our collections. And I feel like this is getting a little crowded. So I'm going to get rid of some of this. Okay. All right, going back to our abstract, we talked about templates and backgrounds. Snippets we talked about, they're mini little templates. And I love using the snippets because they are, well, they were created by our graphic designers. So they're already cute to start with. And all you really have to do is change the content. So at this point, like I said, you need to ungroup them, and then you can select them individually and make changes to it as needed. And last thing we have down here is accents, and it's the same thing as a clip art, and we just click and drag it over. You can rotate it, you can resize it. You will find all of our design elements have this little number right down here, and you will see that in our art guide. And in order to access our art guide, you can access it a couple of different ways. You can go to our yearbooklife.com customer page. Let's go ahead and go there. So if we go to yearbooklife.com, we're going to go to already a customer. And of course, we're using Pictavo, so we're going to click there. And are we going? There we go. And if you go to the news you can use and downloadable forms section, we can go to design guides. And here you will find all of our art. We have the Pictavo K-8 art catalog and the K-8 inspiration guide and the high school inspiration guide. So you will see that there. You can always download it through there, and you can always have access to it in the book. Not in the book, in the software. And you will do that by clicking here on the help menu. And if we go to kit materials, we can click the drop down arrow there, and you will see, you will see all of our art and inspiration guides there. If I click on it, I'm going to click on the high school inspiration guide because it is shorter, or it's smaller, I should say, not shorter. And you will see that we have all of our collections there. And I want to point out, let's scroll down here to some of our art. Okay, so here are our templates. Here you will see that number. So if you go through this and you decide, okay, I'd like to use this specific template, you can look for it in the software by typing in this number in our search tool. And let's go back here, and here is our little search tool right there, where you can type that specific design element number. And you can also do a keyword search. So if we wanted to find something with, let's say, I don't know, pencils, we can do a keyword search for pencils. And now it's letting us know, okay, we have 16 backgrounds, 6 templates, 7 snippets, and 46 accents related to pencils. All right, so that's another way to find your art. I also want to, let me bring this over. I also want to show you, if we go to the little I for the properties, you will see at the bottom the name of that specific design element. So if you find it on a page and you're wondering, I wonder what the name was of that specific art I used on page 10, you can go and click on it and find that number there. Then you can search for it to use somewhere else. Okay, you can also favorite, of course, but if you just want to use it the one time, you can always search for it that way. All right, let's go ahead and insert a text, a photo box, and we can insert some pictures in here. We're going to go again to our left-hand side, and we're going to click on photo boxes, and we can click and drag a photo box over. You can resize this. You can wait till you have the picture in here and resize them. It's up to you. Then we're going to go back again and look for our photos. So we're going to click on photos. We're going to go to our photo section and go to the folder that we want to pull our pictures from. If a photo has been used in the book, it's going to have that little book icon right there. We're going to go ahead and click and drag this over and drop it here. Come on. Well, let me refresh this. And I haven't saved as I went along, so I don't know what I'll get, which brings me to a really good point. Show you our save button, because it does not save as you go along. Yep. Okay. So let's go ahead and insert a photo box. And I want to show you the save icon is right there. And it's a good idea to save as you're going along every time you do a thing or two. Otherwise, it will not remember your changes. As soon as I save and I don't have any changes done, it's going to be grayed out like you see right here. But when I move it, it will populate again. And if I try to go to another page, it will give me a warning. Are you sure you want to move on? But if you run into a problem like I just did, where I froze up like that, then it's not going to save anything. So it's a good idea to save your changes as you go along. All right, let's go back to our photos. And I was showing you the little icon letting you know that the photo has been used. But I also want to show you, there we go. If we go to the properties option for the picture, you will see the photo name, the DPI of the picture, and it'll tell you the pages where you used that photo in. So now you can go to page 8 and either get rid of the photo there or not use it here because it's already being used on pages 8 and 27. So this is a really good feature here, especially when it comes to photos. If you need to make any changes to zoom in and out, you can double click. And now we can click and drag and resize that, zoom in and out of it. Right now we have the image itself selected. If we click here where the lighter area is, now we're selecting the actual photo box. And now we can make changes to that and include more or less of our image that we want to use. Going back to the DPI, ideally you want 300 DPI for the best printing quality. The software will give you a warning if you have anything under 200 DPI. And that is because, sometimes a 200 DPI picture is the best photo we have of a certain event. So we don't flag it until it's at least 200, but ideally you want 300 DPI. And you will see, I'll show you what the warning looks like in just a bit. But I just wanted to go back to the DPI for a second. All right, so once we have this where we want it, we just click outside of it to deselect it, and there you have it. Another cool feature that you can do is you can play around here with the opacity of it. If we go to the wizard wand, we can change the brightness, go to adjustments, we can change the brightness of it, we can play around with contrast. These are good features, especially with photos that are taken indoors. They can get a little dark. You can turn it black and white or make it sepia tone. So you have those. Have a feature now also that you can turn a photo into a background. So if you upload your own photos and want to make them in a background, you can do that by dragging the photo in like we just did here, and then click in here where it says convert to background. And now this becomes the background. Again, we can go to the little properties section and play around with the opacity. You can flip and rotate it and make all kinds of adjustments as you wish. Now, and if you don't like it, you can always click the undo button and just keep clicking it till you go back to where you were. You're not submitting it for printing. Play around with it. This is how you're going to get to know the software the best. And of course, save as you go along. Let me go ahead and insert an image that is low resolution so you can see what that looks like. So here it is. We have the little warning, and it will tell you that it's under 200 DPI. Once we start resizing this, you will see that the DPI will start changing right down here. Now it's 173. And if we keep on making it a little smaller, it will keep on changing as we change the size of the photo. So if we try to make this a background, let's click here on convert to background, it just won't do it because it's just going to be too pixelized. So it will give you that warning and let you know that it isn't happening. Okay, let's see. Let me make sure I covered everything we talked about. Here is your save button. If we want to pop up the ladder, we can go here and click the ladder. If you want to preview, if you want to see a high resolution preview, you can click here, the little preview button. And it is asking me to save before I do that. And now it generates and obviously there's nothing else on that page, so that's why it's only showing that picture. But this is what it's going to look like. You can zoom in and out. So you can see this is a low resolution. It's still over 200 DPI, so it doesn't look horrible. It doesn't look as nice as a 300, but it does show you give you an idea of what it would look like once printed. So then we have our collections here. We talked about the font style, photo boxes, photos, and this is for portrait grids. Our collection. Okay, I think we have covered everything. I'm going to open up the room for questions. If you guys want to type them up, that would be great in the little chat section. And I will be happy to answer any questions that you guys might have. Anybody?
Hi, I have a question.
Hi. What's your name?
Hi, I'm LaShawn. I'm from Urban Dove, Team Charter School in
How are
Brooklyn.
you? Hi.
Good.
Good.
So the question is, let's say I get a picture and I know it's happened to me and I've gotten like the red triangle and I'm not able to adjust it to fix it. Should I just X out the picture and try to ask for another one? Because a lot of those pictures are old, especially if someone takes it with a certain type of phone. Sometimes the resolution isn't good. What would you suggest that I do, especially when it comes to like baby pictures, because a lot of them are taken on
sure.
like actual photos,
like, you know, whatever, 10 years ago or however. Right. Yes. So it really at that point it becomes a personal choice. When it comes to baby pictures, I think it's pretty much known that the technology has changed immensely since, you know, in 5 years, the technology has changed in as far as cameras and photos. So if you were to use a baby picture that is low resolution, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Keep this in mind. This is a ruler that you see right here. So if you have, even though this looks tiny, let me make it even a little bit smaller. This right here is going to be a 2-inch picture, which sounds, it looks tiny here, but it really is a good size because on a page, that's going to take up 2 inches. That's a lot of real estate for a page. So kind of keep that in mind. Even though it looks super tiny on a page, it's going to fill the space quite nicely. Take a look at that, the spacing there. And then the other suggestion I have, if that's the only photo you have, take a look at what else you have on the page. Do you have a photo that looks like this and then a photo that looks, you know, super large like that? Yeah, that's going to look awkward. But if they are kind of sort of, it's a collage that has a bunch of pictures and it has its little tiny one, but then other medium ones, it's not going to look as awkward. Does that make sense? So that would be my suggestion. Okay. All right. I'm getting more questions in. Can you search by student name how many pictures they are tagged in the book? Yes, you can search by student name as long as they've been tagged. How many pictures they are tagged in? Yes, you can. If you do an index, you will see how many pictures they're tagged in the book, but they need to be tagged in order for them to, in order for the software to recognize that little Jimmy belongs in this specific picture. And you can, let me go here to photos to show you how to search by name. So I went to photos. I'm going to go here to manage my photos. hold on, I got to move the chat box out of the way and then save my changes. And I'm going to go to the photo section. And then I'm going to click the little search bar right here. And then here I can search for a student. Okay. I don't know if I have any in our demo book tagged. Okay, so I do. So we can see Johnny Be Good is here somewhere in this picture. So you can look for him that way. Okay. All right. How do I get the prices changed on the storefront? You can, okay, so let me go there. Let me go to our homepage. And we're going to go to our store setup. And we're going to go to, where are we going? To products. Here we're going to select the product you want to edit by clicking the little edit pencil. And then you can make changes to the price here. You can select it by, you can create the price by, or change the price by what the customer pays or what the school is going to receive, depending on which one you click. This one will be active and you can make the changes that way. Just be sure when you're done to click here, update the product so it can save your changes. Okay, and if you run into any problems, feel free to reach out to us and we will be happy to help you. Okay, and speaking of reaching out to us, I'm going to point out here our support number. If you click here on the little profile icon and we click on support, you're going to see our Pictavo tech support number right there and email address if you want to reach us via email instead. Okay. All right. Do we have any other questions? Okay. All right. So I don't see anybody typing and I don't hear anybody. So I am going to assume you don't have any other questions, right? All right. If anything comes up along the way, you know, you are always free to contact us. We're happy to help you. Like I said, you can call the tech support number. You can call us at the office, email me or email us, anybody at the office. We're always happy to help. And I can't wait to see what you guys design. I'm excited. So thank you guys for joining me and have a good afternoon.